But that number has since been driven down with the public chasing the points with the Colts. The number first took a dip on Tuesday, granting a half point to Ravens at negative 2.5. From there, it chipped all the way down to a straight pick and has since shifted in favor of Indy, with the line now Colts at a negative 1 heading into the weekend. Over the last 5 games, Baltimore is 1-3-1 at the least, after starting out the season 2-0 at the least. They are also coming into this game following a straight-up loss to the Steelers, which has historically been a bad spot for bettors, taking them in the hope of a bounce-back game. Over their last 7 SU losses, the Ravens are 0-6-1 at least. As for the on-field product, Lamar Jackson will likely continue to struggle against an extremely stout Colts defense, especially without star left tackle Ronnie Stanley, who suffered a season-ending injury last week. All that points to the Colts pulling out its 6th win of the season and covering. So the Colts, the pick is Colts -1. So we'll see why. Over/under and the latest odds are over 48%. So the total for this game skyrocketed since opening at 45 on Sunday. It took a quick dip to 44.5% on Monday, but quickly jumped back to 45 and continued its ascent throughout the week. It has climbed to a full 3 points from an opening number to 48 heading into the weekend. So the over has hit in Indy's last 3 games, scoring over 55 total points in each of those contests. With that said, I expect that streak to be snapped this week, as this game has all the makings of a defensive rock fight. But the Ravens and Colts have defenses inside the top 5 in the NFL and DVOA, and each is allowing less than 20 points per game entering week 9. So the pick, under 48. Under 48 is pretty good. So player prop. So Nyheim Hines, anytime touchdown plus 225. Hines made the most of his limited opportunities last week and scored 2 touchdowns in a win over Detroit. So with Baltimore owning the 3rd highest blitz rate in the NFL heading into week 9, Rivers could look to Hines in the passing game to help negate that pressure. With possibly added volume comes an added probability. He finds the end zone again. Nyheim Hines total receptions over 3.5 plus 100, similar to what we said above. Hines is averaging 5 targets per game over the last 3 weeks, and the third down back also owns an 81.3 catch percentage. He's proven to be a reliable weapon for Rivers, and the veteran should look his way a lot in this one. So Lamar Jackson, total passing yards under 216.5, negative 115. Jackson hasn't hit this over since week 1 and is now going up against the Colts defense that is allowing a league best 76.2 passer rate. Lamar Jackson total rushing attempts over 9.5 plus 105. Because the passing game might not be there for Jackson. The Ravens may look double down on his rushing ability, similar to last week when he had 16 carries. With Mark Ingram ankle listed as doubtful, that could further push Baltimore to call more design rushes for Jackson. So Philip Rivers, total interceptions, under 0.5 plus 110. Believe it or not, Rivers has been outstanding against the blitz this season, owning a 121.2 passer rating to go along with 4 touchdowns, and more importantly, 0 interceptions. Baltimore will likely try to go after him on Sunday, but he has a solid history of making smart decisions under pressure. The Ravens also are tied for the second fewest interceptions in the league this year. So this game could come down to see who can get to each quarterback. If the Colts can get to Lamar Jackson, if they can put pressure on Philip Rivers, both teams coming at 5-2, someone's going to win this game. Either it's going to be Beemore, who have a lot of injuries this week because of COVID-19 and because of people who have been out for the year. But losing Ronnie Stanley, that's got to hurt that defense really good. Patrick Queen is out. Terrence Bowser is out with COVID-19 symptoms. So we don't know who's going to play on that defensive end for the Ravens. They have some offensive players who are going to be out too. So we don't know what's going to happen with that game as well. So just continue to watch out for that as well. So moving on. The highly anticipated Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference debut of Maker, Howard University's 5-star recruit, got a boost Thursday as the league announced its 2020-21 preseason all-conference teams. The 6'11 Maker was the lone freshman coming a group of seniors named to the preseason All-MEAC first team, joining Coupon State's DeJuan Clayton and Kobe Thomas. NC Central CJ Kaiser and preseason player of the year Cameron Langley of North Carolina AT&T. Maker's status coming out of Hillcrest Prep in Phoenix as a consistent top 20 player in the country with offers from major division. One programs immediately thrust Howard into the spotlight when he announced his shocking commitment to the HBCU in July. And with the extra attention has come expectations to perform for the Bison and head coach Kenneth Blakeney. Despite a league worst 4-29 record, including a 1-15 in conference, MEAC preseason rankings have Howard finishing fifth in the conference and third in the Northern Division. As Blakeney prepares for his second season in charge of the program, he wants to temper those expectations. Coaching staff remade almost the entire roster from last season, meaning Maker isn't the only player they have to get accommodated. In total, the Bison have six freshmen on the roster, 6 sophomore and just 4 upperclassmen, one of which, Joel Eastern, is a transfer from Purdue University, whose eligibility for the season is still in the balance. If Eastern is cleared to play, he provided a much-needed veteran presence on the court for Blakeney's team. One player Howard can count on being in the mix is 2019-20 MEAC Rookie of the Year Wayne Bistrew Jr. He's among just 4 returning players and the only returning double-digit scorer after averaging 12.6 points in 33 games while shooting 40% on three-pointers, dealing with as much youth and turnover in a competitive conference while still trying to establish a culture is that the perfect recipe for success. Add the target on Howard's back due to the addition of Maker, and Blakeney believes people should be patient with this squad. So yeah, Marco Maker, Howard, spotlight. He's a freshman at Howard, and he's putting up points pretty good. And Howard's records over the years haven't really been that good, but Howard's a good team, and they can't compete for a championship or to get to the championship. They can't compete, and they've been competing this whole time. So we just have to wait and see what's going to happen. Moving on. So the Washington football team is performing like one of the worst teams in the NFL. If you need proof of that, look no further than its negative 6 net yards on offense in the second half against the Rams. The Washington football team is performing really bad right now. However, as if I've said in what seems like every time I say this, I have said within the last few weeks, Washington is still in the playoff hunt. Crazy, I know. But as we all know, the NFC East is completely up for grabs. That goes for the 0-5 New York Giants as well. So that is what makes this matchup between two teams with a combined record of 1-9 so unique. It could actually mean something more than just the loser gets a higher draft pick in April, especially for Washington. If Washington wins, they could find themselves in the tie for first in the NFC East with Dallas on tap. You heard that right. However, if Washington loses, then it may be time to get an early start on your mock drafts. So Sunday is a good old-fashioned must-win game for the Washington football team, both for pride and staying competitive in an inept NFC East. So, what are the keys for the Washington football team to win a crucial interdivisional matchup? Well, let's see. At number one, you got to get after Daniel Jones. You got to get after the quarterback. That's number one. So a matchup that jumps out in the Washington football team's favor on paper is its defensive line versus New York's offensive line. Washington has one of the best front fours in the NFL, but the Giants have a bottom-tier offensive line. Advantage, Washington. Washington needs to use this matchup to their benefit. Daniel Jones, even without the constant pressure, can be a turnover machine. That could be amplified if Washington is consistently in the backfield. If Washington can force Daniel Jones to commit multiple turnovers, that can help a sputtering offense get on track with beneficial field position. So if Daniel Jones can sit back and make plays with limited or no pressure, he will still make those mistakes. And he'll make plays as well. However, with added pressure, Daniel Jones could become dandy turnovers. Get after Daniel Jones at great turnovers. Help out a stagnant offense. So that's number one. So, yeah, you got to get to the quarterback of the Giants. You got to get to Daniel Jones because if he gets out in open field and he's liable to run and get those throws out, Golden Tate is probably not going to play tomorrow after violating NFL tire. So he might not play. So you'll get to see more of Darius Slayton tomorrow against Washington. Number two, involve Antonio Gibson in the passing game. Antonio Gibson can play wide receiver too. So last Sunday, 2 weeks ago, Washington continued its trend of not finding a consistent second option to star receiver Terry McLaurin. This week, Washington needs to break that trend. Another matchup that can be advantageous for Washington is Antonio Gibson against the New York linebackers. The starting linebackers Blake Martinez and David Mayo are not good coverage linebackers. While Washington does not have an elite tight end to challenge these linebackers, they do have Antonio Gibson. This is the week you use Gibson's college jet wide receiver skill set to your advantage. Yes, I'm with them. Number two, you got to involve Antonio Gibson in the passing game. You got to. Terry McLaurin can't do it by himself. Logan Thomas can't do it. You got to involve Antonio Gibson. Antonio Gibson gets out and he runs and he attacks that Giants defense. Look out, Washington could be in for a really big game from Antonio Gibson. So just watch out for that. Oh, and by the way, Terry McLaurin has been named team captain ahead of Landon Collins' injury. So congratulations to Terry McLaurin on being named team captain. No more simple swing passes, crosses, and screens. Make an effort to get Gibson the ball. Line him out wide and match him up one-on-one with the linebacker. Gibson will win that matchup more times than not. This seems like the Antonio Gibson breakout game. This will be effective because it gives Washington another target for defenses to prepare for, and it takes some of the attention away from McLaurin. Get Antonio Gibson involved in the air game. Make an effort to do so. Take advantage of the below average coverage linebackers for New York because they will struggle against Gibson. If Gibson gets out and he gets the ball and he gets out in the open space, the Giants defense will falter and they will have to play man-to-man coverage. And the last but not least, the last and most important game rule of all, feed Terry McLaurin. Feed the captain of the team. So making Antonio Gibson a significant part of the game plan will be crucial. However, the most crucial part of almost any week for Washington is to get their starter ball. Terry McLaurin can change a game. He is becoming that good. He needs to be fed the ball. It needs to be made a point to do so. A huge part as to why the Washington football team's offense was inept at moving the ball was due to the fact that there were drives when McLaurin never got a target. Granted, he was shadowed by Jalen Ramsey, one of the NFL's best corners. However, more of an effort could have been made to get him the ball, whether it's on screen, drag routes, or simple fly sweeps. Washington has got to get Terry McLaurin the ball. His offense is at least competent when they do so. Finding another option to McLaurin is crucial, but continuing to feed McLaurin is even more crucial. Washington needs the future-less Dontrelle Inman and Isaiah Wright swing screens, Logan Thomas double coverage throws, and more McLaurin targets. On almost every drive, McLaurin needs at least a target. Make an effort to get Terry McLaurin the ball. Good things usually happen. If Washington forces Daniel Jones into uncomfortable situations and features both Antonio Gibson and Terry McLaurin, especially McLaurin, in the passing game, Washington sets themselves up to win their Week 6 matchup against the New York Football Giants. So, keep a close eye on this game, folks, because this game is going to be for all the marbles, and you gotta be wondering right now what's gonna be of this team, what's gonna be of them. So don't miss out on this game tomorrow. Don't miss out on the Ravens game. That's my show for today, folks. I'll be back in 2 weeks. Right before the week before Thanksgiving, I'll be back in 2 weeks before the Thanksgiving break to give you all the Thanksgiving games and the breakdowns and the highlights. You all have a safe and happy weekend, and I will see you on the next College Sports Report. I'm Brandon Buckner. I'll see you soon.